104.7 The Cave. Mike the intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 160. This week was Jay Stevens'
My
pick,
which was odd because it was a football pick.
Yeah, it was a football pick about a team he has nothing to do about. The Philadelphia
Two teams
Eagles.
I have nothing to do about.
Yeah, you know a lot about the Chiefs because you're with someone that's actually possibly could have been with Travis Kelce. That's a whole nother story. But
God damn you.
sorry, Jordan. Anyway, she'll tell you all about it, I'm sure, if you ask her. Which is crazy in itself. This documentary focuses mainly on Travis Kelce's brother, Jason Kelce, for the most part.
It's called Kelce. It's on Amazon Prime.
And it's on Amazon Prime. And after the quarterbacks docuseries that Netflix did, it's pretty cool that they did this one kind of about the same. It was really during the same window of time.
Well, they got really lucky again. They followed him on a season when he went to the Super Bowl. And his brother went to the Super Bowl.
He went to the Super Bowl. His brother went to the Super Bowl. They just started a new podcast called New Heights.
They followed that from the inception. Awesome. And now it's one of the biggest podcasts there are.
Also, he was weighing the idea of whether or not he was going to retire, and this might be his last year. And it wasn't, obviously, because he's back with the Eagles, especially after they got so close last year. I think he's trying to hold on maybe one more year.
Well, I would too. You know, it's man, we were right there. And odds on, they're probably odds favorite with the Chiefs to go again, you know?
Yeah. So I got a couple of different things I want to hit on during our conversation about this documentary. I'll let you decide. Do you want to talk about the Kelce brothers? Do you want to talk about Philly? Do you want to talk, where do you want to go first?
Let's start first with the Kelce brothers.
Okay, cool. Both these dudes from Ohio, really cool pedigree as far as from what we see as far as now, what we see in their family, look like a pretty good family unit.
Yeah, and very interesting because the parents lived in separate rooms and only stayed together for the kids, but you know, they did what they had to do for the best of the kids.
Yeah, and
it worked out.
And they for the most part, you know, did a good job because Jason, obviously being the older of the two, got drafted into the NFL before his brother did. Very talented lineman, and as a former center who played that position, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Jason Kelce. I'm gonna do that like 50 times.
Is it a tough position to play?
Center is the hardest lineman in my opinion because you not only are in control of the ball, but you have the most hardest position because you are the direct in front of the QB who then gets the ball and you have to protect. So you have to be the smartest guy on the line.
And it seems like you're also starting at a lower physical position.
Yeah, and you pop up.
Yeah, tough, right?
Yeah. And again, I think Jason is probably one of the best. I love Creed Humphrey, the center for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he is arguably the best in the NFL. He is phenomenal. And as a former offensive lineman who played this and did this thing, I have nothing but the utmost respect for the guys that protect the quarterback, and most of the offensive players outside of the line will tell you the same thing. It's not the flashy job, but it's the one that gets it done. And as we mentioned in a recent episode of Rip It Apart Wednesday, I would always equate the line as the rhythm section for the team.
Fair enough. And like the singers, the quarterback, the lead guitar players, the wide receiver, tight end. I did like seeing two things from the Kelce brothers. I did like seeing the softer side of both of them. Both got teary-eyed several times, which I didn't think Travis Kelce, you know, you see him, you know, acting a fool and stuff and kind of acting like he's from the ghetto and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, they actually were really nice, sensitive guys they came across. So I saw a different side of them. And I also like seeing Jason Kelce, you know, nursing the injuries after on Monday and Tuesday, you know, and you don't see that side of it.
That's another thing is most of these guys, you know, they're big macho dudes and they don't show their hand and they'll play with broken hands, especially linemen. You put a club on that thing, they'll play. And that's
you know, you don't think of that side of it, you know,
and you don't see that. And that's something that we got to see in quarterback. And that's something that we got to see in Kelce is what these guys have to go through for the 20 plus weeks of the season, week in, week out, and just getting annihilated.
We see the Sunday warrior. We don't see the Monday through Friday just limping to pick up the daughters.
Barely
you know?
can walk.
Yeah, that's
having
tough,
to go
man.
read stories to your kids and all this stuff.
Wanting to rest, but you can't because you got to be a dad.
Yeah, and that's the decision you make. It's interesting. We recently were in the studio. Jay was recording a client, and their boy, he is a stud high school player, but even at that age is starting to realize I don't want this to break me. You know what I mean?
I was surprised by that too.
Because we were talking about, you know, where's he gonna play college and all this stuff. and they're like, he might not even play because he's just, I mean, he can't move his hand. He's just like, and we're talking about high school, man.
Level, right?
High school level, good team. He's on a great team, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I commended them for not only doing a good job with their kid, but him to have the wherewithal to say, you know what, maybe I don't want to be broken by the time I'm 21. It's for the love of the sport. Some people would throw their entire life at it, and they do. And some realize that it's a sport and it's not worth giving your life up for. But the Kelce brothers have done everything they can to be professional.
And boy, they have excelled, right?
And they definitely have.
To have two brothers, to have a brother make it to the Super Bowl, incredible odds.
Both
to have two brothers make it to the Super Bowl, incredible odds. To have them go to the same Super Bowl, I mean, that's just unheard of, man.
It is unheard of. Well, next in this dark side of the stream, we're going to discuss one of my favorite topics, the Philadelphia fan base.
Oh, are you a fan? Are you a fan? Are you a fan?
You'll have to wait to find out.
Oh, that's a tease. That's a tease.
Dark side of the stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the intern, Jay Stevens, back in the studio. This is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 160. The discussion is about Kelce on Amazon Prime, which is a great documentary. It's not a docuseries like Quarterback. It was just
one episode, easy watch.
Good movie. Told the story of Jason and his brother Travis, their family, his family.
Followed him for a season.
And watched what he had to go through by himself. Now, it starts off with him in the gear at the Super Bowl parade that he wore to talk to the entire Philly fan base that showed up for this. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, they take their sports extremely seriously. Now, the thing about the Philly fan base that just drives me insane is that, especially in his speech, when he's talking to those people and he's like, we're the underdogs, that might be true. The city of brotherly love might be or view themselves as the underdog. But if that's the case, then Philly fans, Eagles fans, Flyers fans, 76er fans, why do you talk so much
you're lumping the entire
trash?
Town in this.
Well, they do. And I will give you the World Series run.
Our numbers are going to go down in Philly after this show.
It is what it is. It's facts. And if a Philly fan can look you in the face and say they don't talk trash, they're lying or they are insane, because they know that they do. I'll tell you the most recent example was the run to the series that they inevitably lost. They were talking so much trash. If you watched video of the fans yelling at the pitchers in the bullpen, calling out, they're like, hey, how's Susan? Like the dude's mom. They're like calling out their kids, calling out their mom.
Well, isn't this the same town that threw batteries at that dude dressed as Santa Claus one time?
Because he was a replacement Santa Claus. Like, dude, like, but the funny thing is, like, after all that stuff, they were saying, like, my dad's epitaph would read, kick Mark in the nuts for me, go Birds. Like, that's all they care about. So back to what I said. I get that you feel like you're an underdog. Trust me, as a Kansas City Chiefs fan for 40 years, until the last 8 years of the glory that we've seen with Andy Reid in Kansas City, you couldn't get more of an underdog than the Kansas City Chiefs up until 8-9 years ago. You couldn't. I don't care. We'll all argue that all day. But we knew what we were. You know, we loved our team. We died by our team, but we weren't out there, like, other than the teams in the AFC West talking trash. Like, they do it to everyone and everything outside of it. I get it. But if you're going to sit there and say that you're an underdog, you might want to not talk so much trash. That's just my perspective. Now, again, with that being said, I really have a soft spot for Jason Kelce, even though he's an Eagle, even though we faced him in the Super Bowl.
Here we go.
I do, like I said in the last break, he's an offensive lineman. He's a father. I have the utmost respect for him, his work ethic, his ability at that position. He's great. I would love to have him as a Kansas City Chief. So my issue isn't with Jason Kelce or the job he does, or really even the Philadelphia Eagles. It's more about the fan base. It's kind of like the whole thing about where I talk about bands, and you go see a band and you're like, man, I love this band, but your fans just make me not like this band. Yeah, there's a lot of bands like that we could go through, but that's not what we're doing today. We are discussing Kelce. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the intern. Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 160, discussing Kelce about Jason Kelce and his family and Travis Kelce and everyone else. Have you got a chance? Has Jordan made you listen to New Heights yet?
I've listened to a little bit of it. Great. Yeah. I think that they both, like you could see starting the podcast, they were both a little shaky and unsure, but it blew up. And now with this whole Taylor Swift thing, it actually, for a little while, I know it surpassed Rogan as the number one briefly. I think it's back down, which is pretty incredible. But even to be the number one sports podcast is incredible. I could see them both after football.
Oh, they'll
taking the show that they do and Fox Sports or ESPN picking it up as a show,
and letting the analysts and
New Heights as a show.
Great.
Make they have with like the Pat McAfee show, stuff like that.
And have two players at their position and being who they are at those positions, to be brothers and to be so insightful.
Yeah, and they're charismatic. Both of them very charismatic. Almost kind of in their own way, but they're both very charismatic.
Good dudes. Salt of the earth guys.
Charming guys. Well-spoken.
If you want to call it that.
Yeah,
very outspoken.
Yeah. And you've got one who's a little bit more structured and one who's a little bit more wild and crazy partier.
It's kind of, it's actually a lot like I would definitely be the Jason in this relationship.
Yeah, you'd be the Jason
and you would be the Travis.
Of course.
But there's validity to that, and it works. I think Jason does a really good job of keeping Travis grounded a lot.
For sure.
You can see it in the podcast sometimes when Travis starts kind of going off and Jason just grabs him and brings it back down.
Big brothers him.
Just like a big brother would.
Yeah, big
Get
brothers
your butt down here, dude.
Yeah, big brothers.
But you got to give it up to him. And I thought it's perfect. It's perfect storm situation. I mean, they just started this podcast. They really didn't know a whole lot about it. And then
they both go to the Super Bowl. Both have great seasons.
All year last year, and then
the Taylor Swift boost. Now it's like
it's what an incredible ride.
Destiny.
I will say this, Chiefs Kingdom, enjoy every minute of it, because the kids right now that have been eating for 8 years, and the youngins that have been eating for 8 years and half your life, or just
they think this is how it goes.
You think it's how it goes? It's not. Enjoy every single minute of this, because one day it's going to be gone. And then what do you got? Well, the love of your team and memories. So we will come back with our discussion and review of Kelce next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the intern, Jay Stevens, back in the studio one more time. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 160. This was Jay's pick. It was Kelce. So how many Kelce brothers would you give this documentary?
I'd give it a nice 4.
Yeah, I give it a solid 4.
Nice, easy watch. I agree with you. And it was entertaining.
Yep.
I didn't feel bored. I didn't feel like anything was dragged out. Which
kept me entertained while my flight kept getting delayed. While I knew
it was going to be a lighthearted, easy watch. And
it was great.
Plus, I wanted to peek more into the guy that was texting my girlfriend. I wanted to kind of see what he's all about. We need to take my girlfriend. What's this guy's story, man? All right,
that phone number's probably
Travis. You're okay with me, man. You're good with me.
As soon as he started seeing Taylor,
you think all his burner phones are gone? He better have.
That phone is at the bottom of the Missouri River somewhere.
Taylor Swift's now a billionaire. He better have thrown away every burner phone.
I don't think he will.
And deleted every Tinder profile. By the way, Jason Kelce and his wife met on Tinder, and it worked out great for them. Over 10 years later. So
it can happen to you.
It can happen to you.
Swipe left.
I really would.
How does that work? Is it one you keep right?
I would love to make a Tinder account just to see what happens.
We've discussed this before, and just to see what. Because we both didn't. None of it. We never got into the.
No, me neither. I
never did it. I don't know anything.
I think under the ruse of doing it for a radio stunt, I could get away with making it. I think the missus would be cool with it.
You go sell that to Jordan. Come back, and I want to know. I want to hear what you say that she said, and then I'm going to ask her on the side and say, hey, what do you think about Jay's radio promotion idea for getting a Tinder account? How do you think that's?
I really think I would love to see what happens, man. Yeah, be all rocked out in the picture.
As long as that sign up email goes to her, I'm sure that you'll
be. Is that the caveat?
I'm sure that's
she has to manage the page.
She manages the page.
All right, maybe.
Oh my God!
I basically have a Tinder account already. It's my Facebook profile.
There's so many people that are already starting to see. Yeah, that's your Tinder.
I get enough DMs that way.
Yeah. So next week is my pick. It's a documentary series on Netflix. It's called The Devil on Trial. So watch it. You can always Listen to these as a podcast for free on our 104.7 The Cave app.
We're trying to beat new heights in the stats. Let's go.
We're building a foundation.
Share with a friend.
Maybe we'll get it one day. Either way, you can stream us on Facebook Live or YouTube at 9 a.m. Listen to it during my show or Jay's show at 9 or 6 every Thursday. I am Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens reminding you
we are not the Kelce brothers.
And we're not the Kelce brothers. We watch movies so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.